Let's do one more word with the outgoing chief planner for the City of Toronto, Jennifer Keesmaat. And we want to do this Web Extra because, boy, is there a controversy. I mean, there's always a controversy in Toronto, but this one's big right now. There is an attempt by a developer to put up a building, let's just leave it very neutral, a mid-rise condo in the middle of the city, in the Annex. And it has famously garnered headlines because Margaret Atwood, Galen Weston Jr., some very heavy hitters have come out against it. What's your position on the thing?
Well, the first thing is that I would never go into a Twitter war with Margaret Atwood. People know what they were doing.
Got more followers than you and me times 10.
1.7 million, I checked.
Oh my gosh.
But, you know, I think one of the things that disappoints me about what happened in that conversation is that we do need to have these conversations about the city, and it's a problem when people get backed into a corner. And if someone says, I'm really concerned about this project because it's not affordable housing and because 8 mature trees are being cut down, and we accuse that person of being anti-growth. Like, we just take all the...
NIMBY. You say they're NIMBY.
We say, oh, you're NIMBY. Mm-hmm. Actually, no. Those are legitimate concerns. Those are legitimate conversations that we should be having about what it is that we're building, where we're building it. And I think, just to take it away from this example, we need to be able to be a bit more sophisticated in these conversations so that we're not backing each other into corners. Because, for example, we should debate design. If we're going to say, oh, anytime someone doesn't like the design of a building, they're a NIMBY, then we're going to get a lot of crappy buildings. We should be debating design.
But I think part of that debate, at least I've heard you speak about this in the past, is that for those people in any city that only want to see 1- or 2-story houses built where they currently are, who are not open to the notion of, you know, you might actually be able to fit a 4- or 5-story apartment building or condo on the corner there and intensify the neighborhood because we need more people living here. Well, that's the new reality, and you're going to have to live with that. I mean, that is your position, isn't it?
It is my position, but I think this is where we go wrong on this narrative, and this is important to be, again, quite nuanced about. We are the fastest growing city in North America. Mm-hmm. We are building more housing than the entire province of British Columbia. So you need to put this in perspective. Yeah. We are growing very, very quickly. The vast majority of those projects, including 60-story towers and 80-story towers and many, many mid-rise buildings, because we have more mid-rise buildings under construction than any other city in North America, the vast majority of those buildings are uncontested. They're supported by planning, they're supported by city council, and they are getting
And the neighbors
built.
too?
Well, this is the thing. Are neighbors saying we don't want any development, or are they saying we want this to change or that to change? And I think we need to be having those conversations frequently. When residents engage in the planning process, they actually make the project better. They really do. And the Honest Ed's project is a really good example of that, of really robust community engagement that led from a project where the original submission had 4 heritage buildings being protected to a project where 27 heritage buildings were being protected. The project got better through the process, and that is what happens the vast majority of the time. So we actually don't have a NIMBY problem. San Francisco has a NIMBY problem. It takes 10 years to get a 6-story building approved in San Francisco, or 7 years, or some crazy, crazy number. We're approving massive projects in 18 months, and the community is engaged. Every time someone shows up at a meeting and wants to talk about a project, we can't throw them into a category of NIMBY, and I think this is a very big mistake. We want to discuss design. We want to discuss what we are building where, and that conversation is enriched when we can show up at a meeting and have a debate about a project.
So those who are attacking Margaret Atwood and Galen Weston Jr. should just chill a bit? Is that the idea?
Well, I think there needs to be room to have conversations about projects, and I think when someone raises a concern about trees being cut down, we shouldn't say they're anti-growth. I think that's a really big leap. And I think there should be room to have a conversation about changing a project and making it better without suddenly cutting people off and saying they're anti-growth. And either side is actually being... We have to find that spot in the middle where we can debate the kind of city that we want and make projects better. Because I will tell you, there are very few projects that arrive in the city planning department where we put a green stamp on it.
It's always a little change.
Oh, well, always there's change. Always there's change. And usually because the developer's trying to get as much as they possibly can, and we're saying, well, actually, we need the building to be set back from the sidewalk. We need more public space, or we need a mid-block connection, or, sorry, those units are overlooking a residential neighborhood. They're going to need to step back. There's always a negotiation, and the industry knows this, and it's not a bad thing because this is the way that we have been able to really maintain the social contract with the residents of the city, where residents are willing to tolerate an insane amount of construction. We tolerate an insane amount of growth in the city. Streets that are blocked, dust, cranes, it's crazy. And the way we're able to maintain that is by having this shared conversation about the city that we're seeking to create.
Help TVO create a better world through the power of learning. Visit TVO.org and make a tax-deductible donation today.